All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. We are joined right now by Larry Kudlow, Newsmax finance insider, CNBC senior contributor, host of the Larry Kudlow Show on Cumulus Radio. Check your local listings. That's on tomorrow. And author of JFK and the Reagan Revolution, A Secret History of American Prosperity. Hello, Larry.
Hi, Steve. Thank you.
My pleasure. Good to talk to you. So let me ask you about what's going on here with the Comey firing. How does all this affect the Trump agenda going forward, do you believe?
Yeah, that's really the key question for guys like me. And to be perfectly honest, right now, I don't see it having an impact on the Trump agenda, which is to say principally health care and tax reform. I just don't see it. They're separate tracks. This is a political story, but, I mean, the Comey is a political story. The other is a, economic, fiscal growth story. And I sort of agree. I mean, I listened to Speaker Paul Ryan 2 nights ago on Fox, and he said, look, there's not going to be an impact because we can walk and chew gum at the same time. And if you think about it, any congressional actions, that takes place separately. There's separate committees, there's separate jurisdictions, and these guys will, continue to do their job, whatever happens in intel hearings or, whatever Comey is called on to do or others. So I don't see it. I mean, the only circumstance here, look, if the Republican Party in the Congress and particularly in the Senate, if they were going to split off and walk away from the president on the firing of Comey, that could conceivably influence their ability or their desire to help him on other matters. It could. I think that's a bit of a stretch, but it might bias them against him, all right, and say, well, we're sick of him, we're not going to help his program, blah, 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 blah. But I'm not hearing that. I haven't heard a single Republican disagree with the firing. I have heard Republican senators ask questions about the timing of the firing, which is fair enough, okay. But I haven't heard them walk away from him, and I haven't seen any big GOP disruption or split here. So my conclusion is, no, there's not going to be an impact at all.
How important do you think it is, or how significant is it that today, and I don't know if it's to try to change the narrative, but Trump had his lawyers release a letter saying that his tax returns for the last 10 years show that he had no Russian income, no Russian debt. He did sell a house to a Russian, as he told Lester Holt yesterday, basically reiterating what he told Lester Holt with regards to the fact that I don't own anything Russian. I have no financial interest in Russia. Is that significant at all?
Well, I think it's important. I mean, he did mention, I guess yesterday, I think he told Lindsey Graham that he would release a letter and show that he was not involved.
Right, because Graham wanted to see his finances, right? That's
correct.
Yeah.
So he's following up on that promise. I think it's a good thing. I mean, look, there's so much conflation and confusion here. At no point has anyone said that this investigation vis-a-vis Russia and the elections or the intel leaks has anything to do with Donald Trump. No one. Now, I've heard reporters say Trump is being investigated, but they are wrong. No one has said that. Now, insofar as the letter to Comey, Trump says, several times you said I'm not being investigated. Maybe that's, and Comey, we don't know exactly what transpired, so that's a little murky. But no one has said it. No one has ever said it. Leaks haven't said it. The original New York Times story going back a while, they said, might have been the 17th paragraph, but they said Trump wasn't involved. It was his, staff people, Flynn and so forth, Paul Manafort. But he's never been involved.
Well, let me give you even more information.
No evidence that he was ever involved.
A piece by Katie Pavlich at Town Hall today quotes Chuck Grassley yesterday at a business meeting saying that he and Dianne Feinstein were briefed by Comey in private, and Comey told them who was under investigation. And he said, while I can't say who he told us is under investigation, he does say, and get this, on Tuesday, the president's letter said that Director Comey told him he was not under investigation. Senator Feinstein and I heard nothing that contradicted the president's statement. So he's insinuating here, basically saying here, without saying it directly, that Comey told me and Dianne Feinstein that the president wasn't under investigation.
Right. That's important. That's very important. It obviously corroborates the president's letter, but it also corroborates the narrative. You know, you will get reporters, and this really, gets my blood hot, because they're saying that this is an investigation of Trump, and now he's trying to cover it up by firing Comey. That is simply incorrect. I mean, that is fake news, period.
Yes, it is fake news.
And Trump himself, by the way, has never denied that his staff, campaign people, were under investigation. Now, he's never passed judgment on that, but he acknowledges that, but not him. So, and I think, your point about Grassley and Feinstein is very interesting. I had heard that, Steve. That obviously will spread word of mouth to the entire GOP conference. It would to the Democrats, too, but they may not acknowledge.
Not through the media, Larry. It won't spread through the media. Yeah, I haven't heard it once.
Word of mouth. Word of mouth. Yeah. Believe me. These guys are, caucusing and talking, and I know how that game works. They have lunch and so forth.
Right.
I just spoke at a Republican Senate lunch 2 weeks ago, so believe me, this stuff gets out. But your point is extremely well taken. I do want to add one thing, though.
Sure.
Maybe it's a larger point. I don't believe health care and tax reform is held up by this Comey firing. I do not. And I think Paul Ryan is correct. They can walk and chew gum at the same time. And I know, as you probably reported, there's lots of activity going on in various committees or special committees and groups in the Senate that is working a lot, intensely, on a health care bill. So that's ongoing. Those meetings will not be canceled because of Comey. But I will say this. Hear me out. If the tax reform, which is the major pro-growth initiative to take a stagnant economy and lift it to 3 or 4%, if that doesn't get done by the latest early next year, and the economy doesn't have time to percolate and pick up, then the Republicans may be in grave danger in the 2018 midterms. In other words, you got to pass a bill. The bill will specify the rules, the marginal tax rates, the expensing, the small businesses, and all the rest of that, okay? You got to give the economy time, to digest it. Now, that will happen fast because there are a lot of people ready to pull the trigger, but they won't. If it's retroactive, that would be terrific, by the way. But I'm just saying, if too much time elapses and you can't get the bill through, the tax bill through, I would say until the late winter of 2018. And that would give the economy, a good 6 months or so to start picking up. If that's not done and the economy doesn't show a major pickup, the GOP is in trouble in 2018. Trust me on this. In trouble in the House, particularly, and maybe in trouble in the Senate, but the House particularly. So the stakes here are very high. And, my advice, and again, I said this to a Senate Republican lunch 2 weeks ago. I was there with Steve Moore. We addressed them. Get this done. I wish you had done it first on the tax cuts. But in any event, business must be stimulated, create new jobs and higher wages, and it's got to get to the consumer wallets. Must. If not, the GOP will be in a heap of trouble come the midterms. I couldn't agree with you more. And the first thing the House would do, the first thing, is impeach Donald Trump. He'll never be convicted, but they will impeach Donald Trump without a blink of an eye. Let me ask you this. Well, I don't know that, but I'm an optimist on this, Steve. Let me stipulate. I'm not good. I'm an optimist. I believe I'm with Ryan. You can walk and chew gum at the same time. Yeah, but I don't know about Ryan sometime. I mean, I wish you and Stephen Moore were in there because we're going in. We're going in to talk to him very soon. You're going in to talk to Trump? That I don't want to comment on. Oh, you're going in to talk to Ryan? Ryan, yes. Okay. What I do want to say is I'm an optimist on getting the tax bill done. I'm just saying, as a warning,
right.
If they don't, if I'm wrong, and then they don't get it done, and the economy doesn't perk up, GOP's in trouble.
All right, let me ask you quickly here. Well, not quickly, I want you to answer, but this will be the last question about the trade deal with China regarding beef, poultry, and natural gas. What's your take on that one?
Terrific. And what you got here is a real change of heart from the campaign, okay? Rather than high noon confrontational drama, which is kind of what we heard in the campaign, and, blanket tariffs on China or anybody else, what you're seeing is cooperation and renegotiation in a joint manner. And this is great. Commercially, this is a big step forward. The big protectionist fears, and protectionism in my view would be very bad for the economy for both countries. Instead of that, we're getting negotiations. We got through the currency manipulation, and the numbers showed it wasn't true, and now we're expanding the export markets. That's a concession from China. It's a good faith act by the United States. Both economies will be helped, and we will create more jobs. Exports create more jobs in this country, in the USA. This is a very good thing. And strategically, Steve, with the common enemy of North Korea, I believe China is playing ball with us. So this is just another example of U.S.-Chinese cooperation, and I love it. I think it's just terrific, and Trump deserves high credit for going down this path.
Larry Kudlow, it is one of my great pleasures to always speak with you, sir. I will see you very soon, as you know, and we'll speak again shortly so the world could hear our conversation once again.
All right, Steve. Thanks.
Take care.
So much.
Larry Kudlow, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for being out there, folks. Check out NewsmaxTV.com and Newsmax.com. But, of course,